Fourth 9 weeks. First of all, they've not told us yet, at least officially, what the finals policy will be. So good for you, good for me.
I hope it's a good one.
Everyone is assuming that it's going to be the same as it's always been, because why would they change it at this point? They should have given you fair warning if they weren't. But they haven't said that, so I don't know. They said they would, but they haven't. I'm sorry. I don't have any other information for you on the finals policy.
The final information, but there's no other information about it.
I'm still, speaking of finals, I'm still finalizing the calendar, not for what's immediate future, but later on. So let me rewind rewind and fast forward a little bit. No, actually, it wasn't even Friday. Friday was catch-up day. The day before that was Law of Sines and Cosines. Right, it's like, who remembers that? That was a long time ago. So today, we're going to do Law of Cosines and Law of Sines again. You remember back on Thursday, it was worksheet 1 and 2, odds. Today's assignment is going to be worksheet 1 and 2, evens. So today it's the same stuff that we've already done. I'll work one problem of each kind just to remind you what's going on. Then tomorrow, we'll learn a new area formula, a super easy area formula, and do some word problems. And then block day we'll test. No, we got an extra day built in there. So, again, so today is review-ish, sort of. And then tomorrow we'll do one new formula and some word problems that really aren't that hard that use law of sines and cosines. And then we'll be ready to test on block day. So that's the plan for the immediate future anyway. When I get a calendar printed, I'll post it and give it to you, and then you'll have a better idea. Let's see. But before we even do that, I'm going to write these down. You should have these in your notes somewhere. But I'll write them down just to remind us. Law of sines. Let's see. That's the sine of A over A equals sine of B over B equals sine of C over C. Do remember that we are not going to give you those formulas. Our hope is that you will have used them so much by the time we get to the test that you just sort of memorize them by accident, right? So you probably don't need to put them on a note card, write them on the bathroom mirror, whatever memorized tricks you do. Hopefully you've just done them, you've used them so much that you know them. I mean, it's been a while, so after today, hopefully they come back to you. Law of cosines, remember it starts with what looks like the Pythagorean theorem. No, it does start with the Pythagorean theorem. But there's an additional part to it. Do you remember what I was going to say add on to it, but it's not quite. Cosine angle C. And then if you can remember that one, hopefully you can remember the others. B squared. What would B squared equal?
C.
Yes. And then the other formulation of law of cosines, I don't want to say it's like 3 different formulas. It's really one formula. You can write 3 different ways. B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. And again, the big deal is sides and angles have to be across from each other in the formula. Sides and angles have to be across from each other in the picture. So that's what we did Thursday, way a long time ago. That would have been, let's see, Thursday, March 10th. And today is March 21st, so that's like 11 days ago. Today's assignment, worksheet 1 and 2. Excuse me. Thank you. The evens. So let's do a couple of those just to get our brain going again with law of sines and cosines. Goodness. Thank you. Did anybody try any of the evens and have questions on them? Super strivers? You're like, that's 10 days ago and spring break? I don't think so. Let's do the first number 10. I don't know if you even know. Yes.
Can we do 6?
Yes. We'll do 6. There's 2 number 10s. Oh, 6. Lovely. That means that we have to answer 3 questions, right? One of those type of problems. Number 6. Given that angle B is 73 and angle A is 67, which of the following must be true? A, B, C. I might could do this problem without a picture, but I don't know. Pictures make life easier. Let's see. So my missing angle is 180 minus the other 2. So the missing angle is 40. So angle C is 40. Let's start looking at the questions to see if we can, how much of this problem we really need to even do. The measure of angle C is 40. Yes, definitely. Which of the following must be true? Okay, but that's definitely true. Angle C is 40. The measure of side C is over here, is less than the measure of side A. Why?
Because the angle is smaller.
Good. So it's a yes, because small angles are across from small sides, large angles are across from large sides. So angle C is smaller than angle A, therefore side C is smaller than side A. Number 3, the measure of side C is greater than the measure of side B. No, side B should be bigger because it's across from a bigger angle. So 3 is false. So just 1 and 2. So that's a good question because it's concepts. You didn't have to use the calculator a whole bunch to figure out what was going on. Let's look at number, and by the way, before we go on, that's a really good thing to look at when you get to the end of a problem. If you found everything, check and see, is your smallest angle across from your smallest side? Is your biggest angle across from your biggest side? Because if not, you did something wrong. Let's do number 10, the first number 10. Find the measure of angle C in the figure to the right. Okay. It's definitely over 90. C's out, assuming the picture's right, which should be helpful. I kind of don't like this problem. That's why I picked to do it. Because if I want to find angle C, I'm thinking, okay, so I'll use sine C over C. But that doesn't really help because I don't know either of the C's. Let's back up. What we do know is 40 and 22. So let's do sine 40 over 22. And what could we set that equal to? The B stuff. Sine of B over 12. So we're going to have to kind of sneak our way around to finding angle C. So not even cross multiply, just multiply by 12. 12 sine 40 over 22 equals sine of B. And then here's the reason I picked this problem to do. Make sure you're in degrees. I grabbed a random calculator and it was in radians. So make sure you're in degrees. All right, 12 sine 40 divided by 22. That's what the sine of b is, but that I need to do the inverse. Right? If you're looking for an angle, then you have to do inverse sine of all of that stuff. So inverse sine of answer. $20.525. You sure you're not in degrees versus radians? Because that sounds like a radian answer. So is my answer 20.525? No, we already marked it out, but now we see where that answer came from. That's angle B. We were looking for angle C. So how do I find angle C now? Yeah, the 180 thing. So 180 minus the one we just found, minus 40, 119.475 is B. So that was kind of a tricky law of sines question. Most law of sines questions are the easy ones. But that one, a couple of steps, and using inverse to find an angle. All right, let's do a law of cosines problem. Let's look at number 8 from the Law of Cosines worksheet. So again, this is now worksheet 2, Law of Cosines. Number 8. Find the value of A in the figure to the right. So I guess let's back up. I know this is Law of Cosines because it's on the Law of Cosines worksheet. But if it was a mixed up problem, how would I know this is a Law of Cosines problem rather than a Law of Sines problem?
There's no,
What were you going to say?
because there's no angles. So it's all the same with one thing.
Okay. There's a couple different answers, and those are both right.
Side.
Side is definitely Law of Cosines.
Just go back.
I usually look for a side angle pair, because if there's a side angle pair, that means I can use Law of Sines. But there's not a pair that I know, so Law of Sines is out. It's definitely Law of Cosines. And I want to find the cosine of... I don't like that that's a little a. I'm going to just make it an uppercase A.
Theory is not right.
So that's sort of what I start with. So which side is going to go across from cosine of A in the formula?
It's going to be
The 5.9. Sides and angles are across from each other in the picture. Sides and angles are across from each other in the equation. And once we've accounted for 5.9, the order of the other two don't really matter because there's the other two on the other side of the equation. 3.1 squared plus 4.3 squared minus 2 times 3.1 times 4.3. Now for the algebra. So I'm going to press pause and see if you can algebra your way to the finish line on this thing. Because most people get it set up right. The mistakes happen when they're moving things around, trying to find cosine of A, or trying to find angle A. Okay, so there's the first couple of algebra steps. Subtract over what was added. Divide over what was multiplied, right? These are just the inverse operation thing. Move stuff around appropriately. So subtract over the added stuff, divide over the multiplied stuff. And then probably go with the fraction bar. Uh-oh, I grabbed a calculator that doesn't have the fraction bars. So I'm just going to have to be careful. 5.9 squared minus 3.1 squared minus 4.3 squared, all divided by open parentheses to make sure I divide by everything. Again, the fraction bar eliminates this confusion. But make sure you put all of the denominator in parentheses to make sure you're dividing by all of that stuff. Okay, but negative 0.251 is not my answer.
You have to.
What do I do next? Inverse cosine that. That's what the cosine equals. So I need to inverse cosine that, right? The second answer button. And then hopefully 104.577 is the choice. Probably the most missed type of problem in this section is number 8. And it's not most missed from a concept standpoint. Like most people will have this line correct on their test. And then their algebra will fall apart and they'll end up somewhere they shouldn't be. So again, it's to really test yourself, find the problems where you're looking for an angle on the Law of Cosines worksheet, and that's the hardest ones. Even harder than the word problems. And definitely harder than the area problems that we'll get to tomorrow. So if you were good with number 8, you're probably going to be just fine. All right, today's assignment, again, worksheet 1 and 2, the evens. Just looking ahead, tomorrow we'll do worksheet 3. That'll be Tuesday's assignment. That will serve as the review. So there's a review worksheet in here. Worksheet 4, review, optional. We didn't like line out the days right. So if you feel like you still need more help, which most of you won't because it's only like 2 days worth of stuff to be reviewing, law of sines and cosines and area. So you've got a review in there, but it's not going to be due.
So do we just have to do odds, or can we do both? Or is the even?
For what?
Even. For both 1 and 2.
Well, so Thursday's assignment from before spring break was the odds. Worksheet 1, odds. Worksheet 2, odds. Today's assignment is worksheet 1, worksheet 2, evens. Tomorrow's assignment will be worksheet 3, and then we'll test on block day. So worksheet 4 will not ever be assigned, but it's in there if you want to do all of it or some of it or however you want to use the review. And answers are posted to everything so you can start working and checking and whatever you need to do.